I walk through the shadow of death left to fear. This is a journey through the halls of hell.
Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Game of Thrones series. This is episode 10 of season 3 and it is called Mhysa. Last episode, everything we've ever known and loved died forever in a vacuumless eternal void, and we will never be happy ever again about anything of all time. Pretty much sums it up I think, so without further ado, this is episode 10, Mhysa. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it. If I remember correctly, this episode's titled Mhysa because it's what everyone calls Daenerys, which means mother. But it also means I am in Gungan. So you know, maybe don't jack Jar Jar Binks' swag, Daenerys. Do that again and Mhysa gonna kick your ass. Lord Bolton, you absolute snake. Yeah, they thought we hadn't had enough Red Wedding last episode. They were like, you know what we should do? Just go straight back into murdering all the nice people. That's just one of the sickest things in the whole show, isn't it? So unnecessary. Just treating a body like that, it's absolutely barbaric, but it's not uncommon even in recent times. If you look at how Gaddafi died, it was similarly just brutal and the corpse disrespected after the fact. And at this point, that flag's so symbolic because the Stark household from season 1 up until this point has just been decimated piece by piece.
People have been laughing at me far longer than they've been laughing at you. I'm a half man, the demon monkey.
The demon monkey is surely a nickname too far. That's just brutal.
Stuff she'd done inside. Then you sew up the hole and make his bed again. My sister used to do that when she was angry.
It's funny that she brings that up because yes, Sansa was an absolute douchebag when she was a child, but it's nice to know that Arya was getting her own back by stuffing sheep shit in her bed.
Caught a fine fat trout. Her brothers gave her a pair of wolf pelts for her wedding.
Oh, look at those satisfied, smiling Lannister faces.
Stark is dead. And his bitch mother.
Oh, that actor delivered that so well. I want to reach through the screen and bludgeon him with a claw hammer. My god, that was fucking annoying to hear him say that.
I'm going to have it served to Sansa at my wedding feast.
No.
What the fuck? Like, he already brought her up after Ned had been beheaded to show her his head. How many members of her family's heads does this little shit need her to see before he is appeased?
Monsters are dangerous, and just now kings are dying like flies.
Peter Dinklage delivered that line so cold-bloodedly as well. What a nice threat to just shoot across the table to the king. I love the fact he's just brazen enough to throw little threats like that at Joffrey.
I am the king!
Any man who must say, I am the king, is no true king.
That sounds good, Tywin, but you've just said one of those things that sounds good but is not true. Like tomorrow, if Donald Trump walked out and said, I'm the president, like it or not, the dude is currently the fucking president. So just because you announce yourself as something doesn't devalue yourself of the title just because you've had to announce it. Sometimes motherfuckers need to be let known.
I'm not tired!
Tywin has such a cold-blooded stare, like he'll just have him killed where he stands if he doesn't listen to him. Charles Dance is an incredible actor. In fact, that's like 3 actors I've complimented in this one scene, you know, the kid playing Joffrey, Peter Dinklage, Charles Dance, they're all such great actors in this show.
I think armies give you power. Robb Stark had one. Never lost a battle.
Yeah, I'm with Tyrion. It's all about the manpower and the technology. But if the technology's equal, it's always about the numbers.
At a wedding,
Explain to me why it is more noble to kill 10,000 men in battle than a dozen at dinner.
Because the 10,000 men on a battlefield have all agreed to go to battle and are ready to fight you. A dozen men at dinner with their guards down celebrating a wedding are not prepared for a fair fight. Now, I'm all for assassin shit, but you cannot be stabbing a pregnant woman to death at a wedding and have me back your play.
Winterfell is a ruin. Roose Bolton will be named Warden of the North.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, it's nice to know the North's in good hands.
One way or another, you will get that girl pregnant.
Not rape her.
Why would it still be important for Tyrion to have to do any of that if Lord Bolton is now the Warden of the North? Doesn't that mean the Starks have lost their power, thus keeping Sansa Stark close at hand is no longer necessary?
It's easy for you to preach utter devotion to family when you're making all the decisions.
It's a very good point.
I wanted to carry you into the sea and let the waves wash you away. Instead, I let you live.
Did he think he was saying something deep and meaningful there? That's the most hurtful shit I could imagine anyone saying to anyone. You can't even imagine the levels that outcasted Tyrion must feel. Oh, fucking Sansa will have just heard about the Red Wedding as well. This is gonna be such a downer of an episode. I apologise, guys. I feel like I'm already on the same downer I was at the end of last week's reaction. And by the way, when I was editing the sound, like the first 50 minutes were all a level like that when I was looking at the sound. And then as the Red Wedding happened, it just went fucking quiet for the last 15 minutes. This one, hopefully it starts quiet and picks up a little bit.
Hold on!
Don't, Hodor.
I'll let Hodor enjoy his well.
There are a lot of stories about this place. Horrible stories.
I always quite like the horrible stories.
Do you want to hear one? This is about Daniel Radcliffe getting hit by a bus.
He served the pie to the king, who liked the taste of his son so much, he asked for a second slice.
This is unbelievable foreshadowing. The episode after the Red Wedding to Walder Frey's eventual fate. This is basically what Arya does to Walder.
It wasn't for murder the gods cursed the rat cook. He killed a guest beneath his roof.
Well, it's nice to know the gods have a standard somewhere. You know, plagues of locusts, cool. Cutting a baby in half to evenly split it between two parties, cool. Slavery ownership guidelines in the Old Testament, cool. Killing someone in your own house, though, that's too far.
Blackfish escaped.
An old man on the run with no allies.
I wonder if that was a deleted scene. I would have loved to have seen Blackfish's escape from the Red Wedding. He's a smart enough guy, he probably saw something wasn't quite right. I bet he was out of there as soon as they played the Rains of Castamere.
Here's to the young wolf.
Oh, forever young.
Oh, I hate these guys so much. The guy playing Walder Frey, again, you have to credit the actor. Like, I have to separate myself and remind myself it's an acting performance, but both these actors are just so loathable in their roles in this show.
I sent my bastard Ramsay to root him out. Robb Stark offered amnesty for the Ironborn if they gave us Theon.
And what's funny is, you know, you think, oh, it gets no worse than somebody like Lord Bolton, until you meet his son.
No. Pork sausage.
Well, it might not actually be his dick, but you definitely chose to eat a pork sausage in front of him for a reason.
Next time you think about naked girls, when you feel an itch.
The sound effect used for the sausage wiggle there was exceptional. I don't know who was on sound design for that sausage wiggle, but wow, I can only imagine it was achieved by wobbling a dildo into the mic.
You're no good to me, dead.
We need you.
Yeah, the torture is just the first stage. As bad and as prolonged and forever seeming as the torture side of this is, Ramsay then goes on to condition him to be some sort of slave type character. He just breaks him physically and mentally in every possible way.
Reek. Reek! That's a good name for you.
He completely missed a moment of magic there by not saying Eureka.
Your name.
Young Greyjoy.
He's holding on to it. If you think about it, he has held on to his identity for so long. Through all this torture, he's never lost himself until this moment.
Reek.
You know, because it's an additional layer of absolute horribleness that Ramsay's intelligent but also evil, because, you know, he's able to be like Hannibal Lecter and using psychology just in the most horrible ways possible to destroy someone's mind, on top of the physical torture he's making them endure. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
Don't kill me!
Who are you?
Oh.
Sam, who are you? Gilly.
Sam, you're back to being shit again. Of all the noises you could have made while going into a building, you didn't have to make yourself sound like a zombie.
I've heard all about Hodor. Hodor.
What a lovable, harmless dude.
John is alive. Then Castle Black's where he'll be. It's the safest place for you.
In Sam's mind, he's not wrong. Of course John would look after Bran the best. It's just Bran's actual calling is way bigger than waiting at Castle Black. Bran is Frodo. He has a quest.
Please, Sam. I have to go north.
You didn't even need to plead with Sam. You could have just told him. He's a little bit of a pushover still at this point. I hate Theon's dad as well. I hate so many characters in this show. Theon's dad is just another shit, unloving parent, expecting to have his cake and eat it too, being a bitch, losing a war, trading his son, then calling his son a turncoat for living with the people he was traded to. What the fuck sort of logic is that?
Theon's favourite toy. He cried when I took it away from him.
This makes me start to like Yara though. It shows you the difference between father and daughter, because the dad has the cold exterior but a cold heart underneath it. Yara was giving Theon that cold exterior, but deep down she loves her fucking bro. She's not gonna let someone treat her brother like that.
Theon disobeyed my orders.
That part is correct, but it was the pressure that you put on him before he left that allowed the rest of the Ironborn to even convince him to do that and go to Winterfell. If you'd have been cool with him, I guarantee he wouldn't have let any of those guys influence his decisions. The way I see it, this whole situation was actually brought on by his father. Even though every man is responsible for their own actions, the way his dad treated him when he went back, fuck him for that. Of course he was going to listen to his dad.
I'm going to pick the fastest ship in our fleet.
She's such a legend for this, seriously. You don't really know much about Yara, other than the weird introduction scene where she allows Theon to masturbate her, so you're a bit like, what's this chick all about? But this shit, when push comes to shove, she's willing to go straight to the Dreadfort to try and free him, makes it an absolute legend. He must have been really good with his hands.
What are they for?
Killing White Walkers.
How do you know that?
Well, thank you for asking. I happen to have killed a White Walker. Yep, the only living man in the entire world to kill a White Walker. That's me.
And for every one of them, the dead men, more than you could count.
And they structure themselves so clever military-wise, usually, because when you see a White Walker later on, they're generally on a horse behind like 1,000 dead people, so there's no way you're gonna get to that White Walker to kill them to kill the army they control. It's a really nice shot. The more I think about it, and I talk often about George R.R. Martin's influences from here and there, I would say Bran's storyline is, the Lord of the Rings one. He's on a journey with his friends on a great quest. No, he's not dropping the ring into the fucking volcano, but he is going to become the Three-Eyed Raven. It's a very hobbity little quest he's on.
I should have known. Every time a highborn asks my name, it's trouble.
Gendry must be sick of this shit. He just wants to hammer helmets and chill.
Never been with a woman. Never talked to a woman, really. And then she comes at you.
Understandable.
So how'd you become a lord?
Oh, that's a long story.
Better not then.
You are literally the only entertainment Gendry has. Tell him your fucking onion story.
I didn't want to be a lord. I nearly didn't accept it.
That's interesting, he nearly didn't accept. Why wouldn't he accept? I mean, living in Flea Bottom and then all of a sudden you get to have a decent life. You would take it.
I'm his wife's servant. I brush her hair and clip her nails and empty her chamber pot.
Yes, technically that is incredibly insulting when you're Tyrion's actual girlfriend, but again, she's being so petty and short-sighted about something that nobody has any control over.
You have one name, as do I. Here, only the family name matters.
He's making such a good point. Obviously, she's not going to listen to sense, but he is making a good point.
You can buy a house with these diamonds. A very large house.
This is the exact moment she fucked up. She should have took this deal and bounced. If you think about everything that happens to her from this moment on, it is definitely worse than this deal.
If he wants me to leave, he can tell me himself.
And that's the real reason she isn't accepting, so you kinda understand it, because she's under the assumption that Varys went on the beheads to Tyrion, but I genuinely believe that Varys probably went of his own accord, trying to think of what's best for everyone.
Wisps of hair. His tiny little hands and feet.
You know what's really naive about this speech? It's an appeal to nothing but emotion. Yes, I'm sure he looked adorable as a baby. Babies are literally genetically evolved to look adorable so that adults are more likely to protect them. You could read that shit up. But unfortunately, he grew up to be a little shit. And you can't just live in this emotional whimsy of remembering how adorable he was when he was an innocent little child. Now he is a non-innocent young adult doing the most horrific shit ever.
That's what she did.
Is he impersonating Catelyn Stark? What a fucking asshole. I've called so many people assholes and I'm probably swearing a lot as usual. I'm Scottish. I'm so sorry if it's not your everyday dialect to swear a lot, and it's all about how you grow up and the people you grow up with and how they communicate, and that's why I swear a lot. I don't try to do it, and sometimes I do swear a lot, and I watch back my own reactions and cringe and think, wow, I sound so immature and unintelligent doing that, but then I record a new reaction next week and I swear like a fucking sailor again, because it's just how I talk. All that being said, I stand by my initial statement. These guys are fucking assholes.
Bullshit.
Such a good sneak attack by Arya. That was actually some assassin shit right there. She's not even trained yet, but she shows promise naturally.
Where did you get the knife?
From you.
Yeah, that's his boot knife, I just realised.
Next time you're going to do something like that, tell me first.
You should have known she was going to do something like that, mate. They just slaughtered her entire family in front of her. And while Bran is Frodo, Arya is Luke Skywalker, Arya is Neo, Arya is that person who is about to meet a stranger on the path who just so happens to be part of a sect who know an elite skill set, and she will be trained by the strangers she meets on the path in the elite skill set she learns becoming part of the sect to one day vanquish evil. Tell me that's not Harry Potter, tell me that's not Neo, tell me that's not Luke Skywalker. It is a story structure called The Hero of a Thousand Faces. Hate to break it to you, but Jon Snow and Daenerys are not the hero of a thousand faces.
I have to go home now.
I don't think I've ever said this before, but she is doing a really good acting performance as a torn archer. While I'm sure Jon appreciates she shot nothing but wounding arrows at him, it would still hurt like fuck. Could fall off his horse, get an infection, his horse runs away, he can't walk, now what, Ygritte? You've killed him by second-hand wounding arrows.
Every man who joins the Night's Watch renounces all former titles.
Which is the main reason that Grand Wizard Theodore never joined the Night's Watch.
Master.
Mhysa.
I feel like Sam was talking to 50% of the Game of Thrones viewers with that comment. I once upon a time called them masters as well.
He's not my child, Maester Aemon. I remember every word of the oath.
I think Aemon will respect that. He technically did not break that vow. He's probably broken some other vows, bringing a woman here and running away from the rest of the guys and all that. But you know, one thing at a time, at least he didn't fuck her.
We didn't build 500 miles of ice wall 700 feet high to keep out men.
I would hope not, because it doesn't work. The wildlings still get over that shit.
We certainly cannot send you back beyond the wall.
That's so cool of Maester Aemon to do that. On the other hand, it is always going to be a bit of a risky situation, her being the one female at Castle Black, a place full of convicts.
The Night's Watch implores.
What is it?
I know it's serious news, but also he did really well to pronounce implores.
Uniting the 7 kingdoms with blood magic is wrong. It is evil, and you are not an evil man.
I agree with Davos, but also I don't think there's an alternative method that is not evil. There's no way the 7 kingdoms are getting united peacefully, ever.
You do not need to burn the boy. A drop of his blood killed Robb Stark.
That's what I was saying a few episodes ago. Why not just keep him alive and constantly siphon little droplets of blood out of him to feed the leeches? And kill anybody you want forever.
What is the life of one bastard boy against a kingdom?
Everything.
Exactly, everything. If he's an innocent person and you're killing one innocent person for your cause, you've just went about it the wrong way. There are other ways to do it without killing innocent people.
When you get to Flea Bottom, have a bowl of brown for me.
That sounds like the worst thing of all time. I don't think they would ever have a bowl of brown again if they knew the ingredients of it. I don't know why. Kit Harington's a decent actor, but his whispery near dying voice there is somehow to me very comical. It was definitely a I'm acting moment by Kit Harington there.
Step aside, country boy. People working it.
Shows how far he's fallen that he blends in that seamlessly. Little moment of saucy with a shell there. Wow, Jaime has looked better though. If you can imagine the absolute pristine knight we got in season 1, you know, clean shaved and everything. He's already had a hell of a journey, this character.
I understand. But since you haven't yet unnamed me Hand of the King, it is my duty to advise you against it.
That's a good power play. If you're still the hand, you still have a say in your own execution.
What he saw beyond the wall, it's coming. For all of us.
Also, I love that Stannis and the Red Lady take this seriously straight away, unlike the people at King's Landing and shit.
This war of 5 kings means nothing. The true war lies to the north, my king.
She instantly knows how serious this is.
You see, Sir Davos? You've been saved by that fire god you like to mock.
I disagree. I don't think that had anything to do with the Red God. I just think Davos brought information, was speaking facts, and she saw that, yeah, he will help them build an army and the dead are coming. But when you think about how trivial it all sounds to the people in King's Landing when they hear about it, it's refreshing, and I forget that we get a scene like that where instantly Stannis and the Red Lady are like, oh shit, this is the real battle. And even though unfortunately Stannis never got there to see it, he was 100% right.
Lomiri Ziri, Mesmalgon Bestila, Tolvis Jevis.
That is an impressive crowd. I wonder if that was all extras or if there was some digital duplication involved there. A question I always ask with anything large scale in Game of Thrones, because I refuse to believe nowadays that people would actually pay for that amount of extras. And I know this scene is meant to represent, like, the rebirth of Daenerys in this moment. Moments like this, though, I can't understand why Daenerys fans were so heartbroken at Season 8. It's such an uplifting moment and everyone's so happy and she's freeing slaves and, life comes at you fast. It's a great shot to end the episode with. Are we gonna get the dragon screech cut to black? Yes, we are. Oh my god, Game of Thrones, you overplay that shit and now I notice it. I can't unnotice it. But it's still a good way to end an episode. I'm not hating. Okay, and that was episode 10 of season 3 of Game of Thrones, Mhysa, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, Mhysa, what did I think of that? I started the episode on an instant downer because we basically picked up where we left off last episode. So straight away, I was in a bad mood because we were getting even more of the Red Wedding before we finally finished with that sequence with Robb Stark getting paraded out, decapitated, and his direwolf's decapitated head stuck in place of his. It's just a horrible thing to do to a corpse after death, you know, just sully it and disrespect it and shit like that. And it's like George R.R. Martin, just the cruelest guy of all time, sitting thinking, right, we've killed everyone, we stabbed the pregnant woman in the stomach, we, you know, slit Catelyn Stark's throat, how can we really get even worse? perfect. I mean, that dude's mind. Now, I'm not one of these people that thinks dark art comes from a dark mind. It's just artists know how to walk into the dark and think, what's horrible? What's scary? They're not thinking, I'm horrible, I'm scary. They're just thinking, from a human perspective, what do humans find horrible? I need to put an evil in my story, so I will think about what they find horrible and incorporate that into characters to put into my story. So, you know, I'm not calling George R.R. Martin a psychopath. That being said, holy shit, George, you really take it there sometimes, don't you? You really take it there relentlessly sometimes, man, and it is fucked up. Poor Theon getting tormented by Ramsay. Both, you know, hilarious / absolutely horrific scenes is the only way you can quantify them. Like, you have to laugh or you'll cry. But I loved that when the news got back to Theon's dad and Yara, that Yara actually took a stand, and I feel like that's the first time we gravitate towards Yara's character, because as I was saying, at first, her and her father seem equally cold and uncaring toward Theon, but it shows that her doing that is just a front. He's family. She was just being an Ironborn about his return, but deep down, that's her brother. She's not gonna let some prick in some hole torture him to death. And fuck Theon's dad for not instantly feeling the same way as she did. That guy is a coward, a hypocrite. Oh, there's so many bad qualities in that person. And I loved the scene, obviously, that ended with Tywin saying the king is tired, etc. It's great to see Tywin do that to Joffrey, but I'm finding it harder to enjoy than I did a few episodes ago, just because some of the stuff Tywin said in this episode, like the conversation he had with Tyrion when he said he wished he'd have thrown him into the river and watched him drown. I mean, how can you still like a character that says that shit to his own son? It's just unforgivable. And I feel bad for Varys. As I said, I genuinely don't think that Tyrion told Varys to go and give Shae a big bag of diamonds. I think Varys was sitting back thinking, what's a weak point that people could get to Tyrion with? And Varys genuinely thinks Tyrion is a good person for the realm. So he was thinking the only way they could really destroy Tyrion is to get to Shae. So if we can get Shae out of the equation, Tyrion will be a lot safer to maneuver within this world. And I think that's the way Varys was genuinely approaching that, and it's a shame that Shae instantly assumed it was just some go-away money from Tyrion. It was nice to see Sam momentarily bump into Bran and the gang as well. It was destined not to be, of course, they're on completely different paths, but yeah, at least he let them know about the dragon glass. And yeah, that last scene was great, very iconic, but also, like I said, maybe you guys will be the same now I've mentioned it, or maybe you noticed it independently of me mentioning it, but the sheer amount of times they end an episode with a dragon screech and then an instant cut to black. I mean, fucking hell, calm down you guys, think of a different way to end an episode for once in your lives. But regardless, what a great season. Season 3 is regarded, you know, season 3 and season 4 and season 5 are regarded as really, really high quality seasons, and it has been a great season all the way through, and I'm looking forward to starting season 4 next week. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below, and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.